Well, hey, how's it going? Welcome to Pastoral Homestead. I haven't updated in quite a while, a couple of weeks actually, and I've been busy and just doing some various things, getting ready for a big trip we're taking our youth on. We actually leave Friday, but I've been doing several things around the house, and I wanted to just kind of show you what's going on with that and give you a little update. So the first thing I wanted to show you is our front yard here. We have corn in the back, and in that corn we have beans planted as well as some squash, so the three sisters kind of a thing. And the idea is that the beans fertilize the ground and they grow up the corn stalks, and then the squash actually helps shade the bottom part. So it's kind of a symbiotic relationship with them. And then we have melons, a couple rows, and then a cucumber here in the front. As you can see back here in the back, there's a whole bunch of wood chips that we have procured, and those were at one point on the other side of that little fence there. And actually hired some of my my youth group. They needed to make some extra money for this trip we've got, so I actually hired them to come over and, sorry about that, I actually hired them to come over and help me shovel that all over the fence, and then we spread it on the rows here. And so the melons, of course, will grow out pretty good ways around themselves, so the wood chips are covering the soil, making sure the moisture stays in, and then also keeping the weeds out so we don't have to weed quite so much. I also put in these little irrigation lines. Hope you can see that there. And they have just been a godsend. I spent about $100 on the lines. You buy a big line, and then you buy small lines to go off of that big line, and it's just been amazing. You just go and you turn on your water, and then you instantly irrigate instead of having to drag your hose around and water each individual plant. This is just a worlds better. So I put this in the front and the backyard. And speaking of the backyard, we'll go back there now. So here's the backyard. We've done very similar things. We have squash here, and then lettuce and squash mixed in together. Lettuce is it was kind of an interesting thing this year. I kind of planted it on a whim. I ordered some seeds from Baker Creek Seed Company, which I've done a review on before. And they sent me some free lettuce seeds, and they were all mixed together, different kinds of lettuce. So I planted them. They came up really fast, but we get so hot here that they don't do just real well. So we have stopped eating it ourselves. However, our animals just love it, and so it continues to grow, and we harvest it daily, and we give our animals fresh lettuce every day, and they really seem to like it. We like it. It's a free resource, so really worked out well for us. Over here we've got some cucumbers over there in the back, and then also some other squash right here. And then our tomatoes. I wanted to show you our tomatoes and what we did with them. It's super bright out here, and so I hope you can see all of this. But I had bought these wood stakes for really cheap, about 75 cents a stake. They were on sale. They were crooked and they don't look good, and I drilled holes in them, and then I ran string through them. And so instead of buying individual tomato cages, which would have cost me probably $150, $160, I spent $20 on these wood stakes and some string. And to be honest with you, I think it's going to work great. It's worked great so far. The only thing I would do different is I would change this type of string. The type of string I used is, sorry, I was just going to grab it. The type of string I used is this white nylon, just regular string. It wraps around itself, it twists on itself, and it really was kind of a pain in the rear. And I think it's a little bit thin for what I'm doing. It hasn't damaged any tomato plants yet, but I guess it possibly could. The other thing I would recommend doing if you're going to do this, I would make sure you put all of your string in when the plants are little, and you don't have to worry about going in and out of the branches of the tomato plants. That was kind of a pain in the butt, but they're trained now to go up that string, and they do it quite well. So I think it's a very economical solution for tomato cages. So instead of tomato cages, just these cheap stakes. Another mistake I made, I planted these. You can see my little fat wiener dog over there walking around. He's helping me today. I planted I planted these pepper plants really close to the tomato plants, and I think in hindsight that was a mistake. For one, they don't need near as much water as the tomatoes need, and number two, they just don't go real well together. So I'm not sure if it's a huge mistake. They're producing fine. We've eaten some peppers off of these plants already, so I guess they're producing okay. It just, if I could do it again, I wouldn't plant these quite so close. And now for an update. I'm sure my wife will be thrilled that I'm sharing. I asked her to buy 9 sweet potato plants, and what she ended up doing was buying 9 8-packs of sweet potato plants. So we ended up with 72 plants. I wasn't even planning on putting anything in this back corner of the garden. However, I didn't want to let those go to waste, and so we planted 3 full rows of sweet potato plants. I've never tried to grow them. I don't know much about them at all, but I like sweet potatoes, and so hopefully if they come up and we get a good crop, we're going to have a ton. We'd be able to feed the Continental Army with sweet potatoes. So we hope that they produce well, and we'll harvest those guys in the fall. Show you around our animals just real quick. Here are our full-grown hens. A couple of different kinds in there, just kind of a mixture. We got 5 full-grown hens. We got 1 broody that's back there in the back. I don't know if you can see her around that little thing, but she's back there in the back sitting on some eggs. Unfortunately, the eggs are unfertilized, so not doing her much good. We're actually going to be building a part of their coop here right next door to this, so we'll show you what we're doing with that in the future. We also have 2 young Americana chicks, and they are really growing well, and we're looking forward to introducing them to the big flock. We introduced them too soon. We had 4 of them, and we lost 2. I'll do an update on that video when we introduce these to the main flock, because that was a learning experience. So here are Americana chicks ready to be introduced to the big flock. Here we have our little Bantam chickens. These are my absolute favorite. I really enjoy having these little dudes around. They're called Serrana or Serrama Bantams. They're the smallest chicken in the world, and I think they are just too fun. And the rooster back there has got so much personality. I just really like them. They're tons of fun. So that's Maximus the rooster, and then Ethel's over here to his left down there. And then what's really cool is Bethel, his other hen, is actually broody, and I don't know if you can see her. She's actually in there sitting on some eggs. I didn't get a very good shot. You can do a little bit better there. She's actually in there sitting on some eggs, and those eggs are fertilized, and so we're hoping that she'll give us some babies here in the next couple of weeks. This is Oreo. He's one of our buck rabbits. He's actually the first rabbit that we ever got, and he lived in the house with us for a couple of weeks. We really like him. Anyway, that's Oreo, one of our our New Zealand bucks. This is Aspen. She's in her temporary cage for now. She's a Rex rabbit, and she's young. We'll probably breed her in the fall, but all of our Rex rabbits are pedigreed. She's really pretty, so we're going to get her a permanent cage built pretty soon. Another rabbit in a temporary cage is Autumn. She's a meat rabbit, and so we'll be breeding her this fall also to make some meat babies. And then right over here, pardon my mess, is our full cages, and we have one of our Rex rabbits. That's one of our bucks. His name is, what do we call him? His name is Peanut. He's one of my favorites. I really like him. Really quiet disposition, real interesting rabbit. Another one of our Rex rabbits is Sage. She's a blue, very pretty, a little feisty. And then we have 2 meat rabbit females that are really shy, and we've had some issues with, so I'm not sure if I'm going to breed them again. But that white one and of course that one back there. Also wanted to show you our operations here in the garage. I've got 7 quail that we hatched out. So these are Texas A&M and Caternix quail that we hatched out. It was I just bought some eggs from a guy, so I didn't really know what I was going to get. We hatched out 12, and we lost some to various reasons, and I'll make a video on that soon, because again, learning experience, we definitely want to pass that along. And over here, these little guys, we actually hatched out some of our Bantam eggs that we got from of course the Bantam chickens. They lay fertilized eggs, so we hatched those boogers out. So we have some old ones in there and a couple of new ones. And if you look right up here in our incubator, we got one that just hatched, and so he's kind of a weird one. He hatched really early, and so he's not even in the right incubator. He's in the incubator with the Turners still. So I'm going to let him sit in there just for another couple hours and dry off, and then I'll move him over. So as you can tell, we got a lot of stuff going on around the place here. We live on less than 1/4 of an acre, so closer to 1/5 of an acre. We don't have a whole lot of space, but we try to use everything that we can. And you can see we've got chickens and quail and rabbits and trying to do all that. And our garden's just really taken off, And the wood chip method, the Back to Eden gardening, has been a lifesaver. It's been a wonderful method. So if you're not familiar with that, check that out. It's called Back to Eden gardening method, and we're just really happy with it. So hope you've enjoyed our little tour. I'll be sure to make some more videos. Especially, there's 2 videos I want to make on our mess ups that we've had in the last couple of weeks, and we really should have done more research before we did a couple of things, and I want to make sure to pass that along so you don't do that in the future. But anyway, quick update. I'm sorry I haven't been making a video every week, but I will definitely get back on that, and hope you all forgive me. So God bless you guys. Have a great, safe day. We'll catch you next time.